75 years ago, during the Second World War, more than 200,000 Tatars were deported from Crimea, their homeland, to Siberia and Central Asia. This tragic part of the history of indigenous people of the peninsula is commemorated every year in Kyiv, as Ukraine has recognized the deportation of Crimean Tatars as a genocide since 2015. Among several political and religious personalities was former Soviet dissident and member of the Ukraine parliament Mustafa Dzhemilev. He gave a speech about the link between the deportation and the current situation in Crimea.
The occupation of Crimea that took place in February-March 2014, in its significance as a tragedy, can only compare to the deportation of 1944. According to our estimates, approximately 10% of Crimean Tatars, the indigenous people of Crimea, have already fled the peninsula. Can you imagine what a tragedy it is for people that spent half a century fighting to return to their native land and are now once again forced to leave it?
The event features a charity fair dedicated to political prisoners and to their families. People could buy traditional Tatar delights, souvenirs with Crimean Tatar symbols, t-shirts, books, and so on.
We are collecting money for the children who live in Crimea and whose fathers are now in prison, and so we're collecting money to make their lives easier.
Following the start of conflict in eastern Ukraine and the annexation of Crimea in 2014, the government of Ukraine reports some 1.5 million internally displaced persons. Zarife is one of them, and she told us about the big decrease of freedom on the peninsula since the annexation.
All of my family lives there, and I was working there as a teacher for the last 3 years, just after the occupation. And I felt as a teacher we had a lot of pressure on us because we needed to tell and to teach the things that the country wants us to teach. For example, by the meaning of patriotic feelings, we had to teach that Russia is the only country which has to be on the world, and all of the countries which are around, they are enemies. And this is what we have to teach to the primary school.
Beyond the fate of the political prisoners, the position of the Ukrainian authorities about the status of occupied Crimea is crucial. The first Deputy Minister of Information Policy, Emin Draparova, is looking for the newly elected president to follow up the existing policy on that case.
I believe that the challenge is the same as the occupation of Crimea. Is non-recognition, is still this huge consolidation of international community towards the non-recognition policy of Crimean Peninsula, is the keep on pressure on Russia. So we will see, because foreign policies directly depend on the president. So it's really, really important what would be the course, and I hope that the course would not be changed.
On May 18 at noon, all Ukraine will honor the memory of the victims of the deportation of the Crimean Tatar people with a minute of silence. At the same time, a rally will be held in Maidan Square. Reported by Pierre Marechko, UATV.